Alien, Earth, Season 1, Episode 4 Review, Wearing Sheep's Clothes. The eyeball monster is quite frightening. Perhaps not as frightening as the world's trillionaires, though. Episode 4 of Season 1, Observation. To what extent will things progress? Many people have been thinking about that lately. Most people, of course, ask it with fear and anxiety. However, some people enjoy the twisted pleasure of fast increasing entropy, not because they are nihilistic but rather because they think they can both survive and benefit from the disaster. The greatest monsters in Alien, Earth, are those who wish to study and profit from the flames, while Michael Caine stated in The Dark Knight that some men just want to watch the world burn. Boy Kavalier, the clever and completely immoral founder of the massive conglomerate Prodigy, is the most heinous of these evil humans, or humanoids, at least. However, the alleged boy genius is not merely in charge of a massive organization. He is in charge of the world. In any case, he co-runs it. Joe, the still human brother of Wendy, the main, hybrid, character on the show, provides viewers with a quick overview of the history of the alien planet in this episode. Joe is sentimentally adamant about going by her real name, Marcy. Joe tells the infantile hybrids that there used to be governments where people could vote for the way they wanted their planet to be run. Simply put, it didn't work, Joe explains. Thus, companies intervened, and, ostensibly, they resolved every issue. That, apparently, seems really blatant. The scene is spooky for a number of reasons. First of all, everything we've seen about Boy Kavalier suggests that he shouldn't have any position of authority. Since the Weyland-Yutani Corporation sent a group of long-haul truckers to recover a deadly species of giant parasitical space piranhas in the 1979 film that started it all, the Alien franchise has existed to skewer fundamentally delusional capitalist beliefs, one of which is the default assumption that success in business or technology makes one a natural leader. Beyond that, however, the scene demonstrates how corporate dominance of the media and school system robs Joe and the hybrids of their capacity to comprehend and express the issues plaguing their society. Did democracy fail? Well, who says that? The 5 companies that took its place. They scarcely appear to be an objective information source. It seems like they fixed every issue. Which issues did they resolve? And why do so many issues still exist today? In fact, Joe was compelled into indentured slavery for a mere few minutes of screen time before he explains to the hybrids the benefits of corporate authority. In order to pay off his new prosthetic lung, Joe is ordered to stay on duty and evaluate Marcy/Wendy's humanity by Cavalier's majordomo, Adam Ince, Adrian Edmondson of the cult classic Britcom, The Young Ones. Although it's a strange way to describe a xenomorph attack, Joe needed the lung in the first place because to a work-related accident. However, hey, if the shoe fits, so to speak. The terrifying thing is that Joe has no recourse, no higher authority, no law of the land to turn to. If the company that employs him decides he owes them money, what can he do? If they decide his sister, who they assert is a new immortal form of human life, is simultaneously just a machine and therefore company property, whom can he ask to intervene? His entire world is a personalist cult, in which the trillionaire emperor consults the almighty God Prophet for his decisions. All others must bow and obey. Doesn't it sort of put the eyeball octopus in perspective? Yes, it removes a sheep's peeper and takes control of its brain. Indeed, if it managed to get out of control and began to manipulate humans or other animals, it would pose a serious threat to public health. However, they pale in comparison to the harm that the ultra-wealthy may cause. Lovecraftian potatoes, indeed, but they were still little and misshapen. Whether they are hybrids like his assistants Curly and Toodles, who renames himself Isaac in honor of Sir Isaac Newton, or complete synthetics like Kirsch, the xenomorphs have little interest in man-made beings. However, the eyeball creature appeared more than eager to perform its duties at the scene of the collision with Nibs, a hybrid. The poor child has convinced herself she is pregnant because of the trauma caused by the attack. Nibs nearly assaults Dame Sylvia, her chief technician, therapist, and mother figure, when she attempts to break the delusion. This sets off some kind of security mechanism, the outcome of which is unknown. There are other hybrids in serious trouble besides Nibs. Morrow, the Weyland-Yutani cyborg who has vowed solemnly to retrieve all the alien specimens for his employer, has compromised slightly. When his attempt to play good cop with slightly doesn't provide the desired outcome, a stolen xenomorph egg, Morrow turns to more heinous means. He locates the hybrid's biological family and subtly warns them that until Slightly can coerce a human of his choosing to house a xenomorph embryo, their lives will be in jeopardy. He has 24 hours to do it. Joe, whose presence next to Wendy simply serves to remind Slightly of the lack of his own family, is the target of his insults right away. Kirsch, the synthetic handler of the hybrids, keeps a close eye on everything. He hears every exchange between the hybrid and the cyborg and permits it to continue as he has access to all of Slightly's sensory input and output. In the same detached manner that he and Cavalier watch the eyeball octopus take over the sheep's nervous system, he watches it. It's that blood-stained, let's see how far this goes, mindset. The episode's greatest potentially revolutionary plot development, Wendy's newly discovered capacity for communication with the xenomorphs, is motivated by the same mentality. In addition to hearing and understanding their chattering language, she can also tune in and out of this frequency at whim with a little help from Dame Sylvia's husband and lab partner, Arthur, David Ristol. She can also verbally replicate it. In the grand tradition of the franchise, it is unnerving to watch a humanoid make those eerie, recognizable noises. After tuning into the xenomorph's bandwidth, Wendy's main takeaway is that it is improper to catch, dissect, and experiment on them. What would Cavalier think if they did the same to him, after all? That seems like foreshadowing to me. But is there a higher purpose for the xenomorphs? Do they possess the same level of sentience as humans and synthetics? Are these creatures genuinely interested in anything besides procreating in vast quantities and consuming any living forms that come in their way? I feel a little uneasy about the question. I would hate to learn that these brilliantly evil creatures are just as afraid of us as we are of them, or some such platitude. All they want is to be left alone in peace. Although I consider myself to be a mindless engines of destruction, would also welcome heralds of a dark god of cosmic oblivion, if necessary. I vehemently disagree with Ridley Scott's man-made origin theory in Prometheus. That is the purpose of the Terminator. We appear to be on the verge of discovering the animal's reasoning. Wendy closely observes as the xenomorph embryo that was put in her brother's old lung explodes, releasing the organ as well as the vitrine it floats in. Wendy coos and chitters at the snake, as if she were a snake charmer, and it seems to reciprocate. Once more, Kirsch observes without taking action. The rule of the day is once more to see how far this goes. Just last week, I was wondering which of the characters in this franchise, the aliens or the humans who attempt to take advantage of them, are the bigger villains. I don't believe there will be any questions after this week. Boy Kavalier and the eyeball octopus are now engaged in a real stare-down, and I can tell you which eyes scared me the most.